Hey, this is Jack Owen from 6 Feet Under, and this is We Go to 11.
Radio Amor.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I think.
Oh, LA?
Yeah, just saw him a couple of weeks ago with Amon Amarth.
The big tour.
Yeah, huge tour to see death metal bands on an arena stage that's not like a festival type setting.
Right.
So that was big for us, and when I say us, I mean the Northwest. They were out in Portland, Oregon. So
That's little guys.
yeah, the little guys that have a lot of history and a lot of influence on all the current metal bands. Anybody in their 20s, it seems like they're into Cannibal Corpse, 6 Feet Under, Obituary, all the Florida acts, it seems like.
Yeah. All the old stuff is still going, and the new stuff's coming in. Killer.
It is. How do you, as you being a vet of the scene, back in the day, I mean, what are some newer acts that for you have caught your eye or your ear, let's say?
Yeah, there's new bands that are new to me, but they've probably been around for a little while, like Necrot and Street Tombs and Feared and Tombstoner, and I found Street Tombs on Carbonized, and all their whole label is killer.
Nice.
Funeral Leech and all kinds of killer shit on there.
Right. So, you guys have a new record with the you reunited with Barnes, I think, last record, right? It was the last year. So this will be number 2 with you in as 6 Feet Under. And the involvement, because you produced, right?
Yeah, it's just a title, but everybody contributed to the outcome.
So why was your name added as producer, I'm wondering? Did you do more of it, I guess?
I guess if I'm so heavily involved in all the music and most of the lyrics, just arrangement and getting everything going.
So how did that go with Chris? I mean, again, did he have a lot of input, or was he just like, hey, let's go with it, and what you have is we'll fine tune some things along the way?
Yeah, I ran all the music by him, and he liked all of it. And then I had some lyrical ideas, so I just started putting them down on my multi-track for, I think, Accomplice to Eat More Deeds. And he was like, awesome, keep going. And I was like, cool, I have a million lyrical ideas. So I just kept on going and filling in lyrics, and he filled in the rest.
Out of curiosity, I mean, what inspires the lyrical ideas? I mean, is it something like you could be out for a walk and then something pops in your head and you're like, I'm going to make a note of that and use it at a later time? Or is it kind of, if you listen to whatever music you come up at and then you start working on the lyrics? How does that all work?
Maybe if you're out for a walk and you witnessed a murder.
Well, I didn't want to get into that, but where does that stuff come from? Because it's, in reading the lyrics, which I'm always, the first thing I do when I bust open a death metal record, look to see if they have lyrics, because, I want to, follow along as I'm listening to the tune, and some of that stuff, it's like, where do they come up with this stuff?
Yeah, a lot of it's like true crime and horror, and I'm not sure. We need to be psychoanalyzed, but after all of this, 'cause I'm not sure where the whole thing happens, where you just get into the heaviest music and the heaviest movies, the most brutal movies and everything. I'm not sure. We need psychoanalysis. But back in the day it was horror movies and newspaper articles, book. Now it's like turn on the TV and there's like 3 or 4 networks with true crime, and all I really need is a phrase, and I'm off and running.
Right. No, I mean, you're right. Just turn on the news. I mean, I was watching the news this morning, and there was a guy that was out on vacation with his wife out on the beach here in the Oregon beach, right? And I think they were celebrating their 37th wedding anniversary, and he got killed, walking the dog. So I mean, and they tried to steal the dog or something like that. And it's like, wow.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like just turn on the news.
Yeah, you've got a new serial killer out there. So
right. That's weird. So how much of this particular record, I know you said the music, obviously you did a lot of the lyrics. Um, I mean, if I'm the guy that's fronting the band, how do you relinquish that kind of control?
I just kind of relieve the burden on Chris probably
Uh-huh.
because he's been writing lyrics like 100% of the album for decades.
Right.
So he was probably like, "Thanks, dude."
Yeah. I mean, and I know with Chris, I mean, I think he seems like a really kind of low key kind of guy. Like even in interviews, he typically doesn't like doing them. I don't know if he has anxiety about it. I've met the guy a few times. Really sweet dude, right?
Mhm.
But I think everybody kind of has, maybe he's got that about him where he's a little bit less outgoing and just wants to be left alone.
Yeah, just kind of doing his job, and
Mhm.
yeah, he's kind of timid, and he just wonders why everybody hates him.
That is weird, isn't it? Now, now what is new though, I mean, I follow him on Twitter, now X. Um,
Mhm.
but he's made claims, I mean, that he's sober, he's not smoking anymore, and he seems like he's living very healthy these days. So, was that different, a different experience, going into working on this particular record with a new mindset, a new lifestyle, let's say with Chris.
Oh, well, I always have faith in him to do the right thing, but I think being sober definitely helped. And yeah, no drinking, no smoking, clean living up in the Northwest. So,
Right.
and
That's wild,
good.
man. I mean,
Yeah,
I never thought there'd be the day, but I mean, it
yeah,
happens. Yeah.
yeah. He was such a marijuana advocate. It's not
Hmm.
like he hates it or he's
Sure.
against it. He's just like, life change.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And as far as things go, the lineup, I mean, obviously it's yourself and Chris. Who else is rounding up the band here? Because you had some folks playing on the record.
Yeah, we
So,
had got the same lineup since about
okay,
2017.
so no changes. Yeah.
No, Ray Suri does most of the leads on the album. He's awesome. He's a teacher.
Hmm.
He can play anything. Same with Jeff and Marco. They're like light years beyond my playing. So anything I write or lay down demo wise, they can play like in their suite.
Okay. So is that kind of one of those things where maybe you lay down the blueprint and then they take it from there?
Yeah, they have freedom to you can just do whatever they want on their tracking.
Yeah, you do have a special guest on one of the solos though.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
how'd you round him up?
Oh, I do guitars with him, last album and this album, and I've known him for decades. So we were just tracking guitars, and we were done with rhythms, and lead came up, and I did a couple of mine, and we had the demo of Neanderthal, and
Mhm.
he said, "Okay, let's do your lead here," and I'm like, "My lead sucks, dude. You do it."
So is
So
that
he,
simple, huh?
yeah, mine was just like all whammy bar and sounded like a mastodon trudging through a blizzard, and
That's a
he
good way to put it.
he kind of ate it and then started shredding because he just sits around and shreds all day.
Right, right. So as far as the songs that made the record, that is what you had in terms of the songs going
Mhm.
into this album, or do you usually have stuff left over that you're like, hey, we're gonna revisit that at a later time?
There was one song that didn't make it, but yeah, that was pretty much it. I kept on writing, and I pretty much have a whole nother album
Okay,
ready to go for next time. I want to get the other guys involved in writing, though. I'll just pick
sure.
up for my songs.
Okay. So the plan is to maybe throw a little bit of a wrinkle there and bring in the other guys to kind of put their 2 cents into something.
Definitely. I
Okay.
I don't I don't want to take all the credit because
Right.
people hate this one. It's like, okay, it's your fault.
Nice. One of the things that is different though on this particular record is I don't know if it was you or it was a conscious decision on Chris's part, but he's doing something different vocally.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think when I heard the tracking when it was finished, I was like, "There's no high screams," even though he's done this since about 1994. So I was like, "This is a vocal approach that's more like Butchered at Birth from like 1992
Mhm.
or the Haunted album, the first 6
Right.
So I
Yeah.
was like, well, when the lyrics were done and he's gonna start tracking, he asked me what kind of approach he should take, and I was like, just everything low, everything guttural. And he was like,
Mhm.
okay.
So that's just the way it turned out. I'm guessing that probably is a little less wear and tear on the pipes for him, right?
Yeah, because
You
the
know?
high screams, even though they sound kind of falsetto, they're actually a really loud thing that he does.
Mhm.
And they
Right.
go over really good live, but in the studio, it's hard to capture it.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I mean, it's been a bit since I've seen 6 Feet Under live. What's the plans in terms of taking this thing on the road? Is there a chance that's gonna happen?
We do have plans for international stuff so far, and it goes out into 2025. Nothing's confirmed yet, so
Okay.
I guess once we get some numbers for the album, maybe we could start putting some feelers out and get across America.
Right. Would you guys be up for doing like a package thing also with other death metal bands, or would you be in for more of an eclectic type of package?
Oh, I gotta do a package these days because the price of touring is going
Right.
up too much. Gotta bring in a big guarantee for the package to keep everything rolling, really.
Do you think you guys could do like something with like a power metal band, or would it be best to do something with another like death metal band?
Hard to say. We'll play with anybody. When we were touring Europe, there was a whole bunch of different kind of bands, doom bands, stoner bands, thrash, old school thrash. So, I mean, heavy, but yeah, maybe not like Vulture or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, we would. That'd be cool.
Right. So, what was the inspiration for the title of the record?
Oh, when I got done with the lyrics, Chris came up with that because it's a lot of not necessarily revenge, but um human race, removal of the human race. And after analyzing what I wrote about that, I was like, not really the whole human race. It's really just the American population.
Oh no. So I have a couple tunes that I'm really enjoying digging at the moment, and maybe you can take us into a little bit of the backstory on those. First one being "Spoils of War."
Mhm. It was thrashy, and I think I wrote the music and then the lyric, and I'm not sure where I got the military theme. Maybe because my dad was in the Korean War, and when you're in a foreign land, the bodies just pile up and part get mixed together, and there's foreign cemeteries, and who knows then who's in what grave, and have to guard the cemetery until everything over. So the spoils. Oh, you're muted. Was
That
it?
one to me had somewhat of a Slayer vibe to me. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm off the mark, but yeah, maybe it's just a military tie-in.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Musically, everything on here is like Slayer, all the fast stuff.
Yeah, it is. And I didn't know if that's something you take as a compliment or an insult or whatever, but I think that's what really makes his record work, in addition to the different take on the vocal.
Yeah, everything is kind of varied until like the last 4 songs on the album, and then it's
Mhm.
just blasting till the end.
Right. What about Compulsive?
Compulsive is probably some kind of Walking Dead thing. Like the first episode of Walking Dead, Rick wakes up in the hospital and everybody's gone. And
Right.
what if he was stuck there forever? How would
Right.
you survive? You have to eat yourself.
No kidding. What did you think of I mean, did you give up on that series at any point? And if so, when was that you think? I mean, or did you finish the series?
I never finished it. Like when they started getting into the different tribes, and
Mhm.
I don't know, there was something weird about how it evolved.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think once you got to that Negan episode, it was all downhill from there, it seemed like.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
I mean, that was it. I mean, how could you top that, right?
Yeah. Once Rick is gone and you kill Glenn and yeah. Who else did Negan kill with the bat there?
The Asian fellow, what was his name?
Oh, kill
Glenn.
Glenn.
Glenn. Yeah. Yeah. So
Somebody
that
else.
was the end of that. All right. Let me look at the CD. There's also, let's see. Well, I'm going to ask you about the cover.
Oh yeah.
I'll get to that one. But Neanderthal,
Oh yeah.
that was the other one.
It's kind of Sabbathy, but I
Mm-hmm.
do like all kinds of stoner stuff like Tyus, Fu Manchu. That stuff's really easy for me to write. So it was like 5 or 6 songs in, and I had a weird break for a couple of weeks where I just wrote a bunch of stuff like that. Hostility Against Mankind is the same kind of plotting, doom, stoner kind of feel.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just a break, and like I said, the whole song is like caveman, mastodon trudging.
Right.
It's like I was into that. There's a show on Adult Swim called Gendy Tartakovsky's Primal.
Right.
It's hard to describe. It sounds stupid, but it's a dinosaur and a caveman who are best friends, and they have like adventures. Really cool.
Well, what about the first tune? Because that sets the tone for the record.
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration behind that? He didn't know nothing. I mean, it's just kind of seems like that's directed at a particular person or persons, maybe.
Yeah. It was just like I wrote the music kind of like Dark Angel or Creator, and I had the stop part throughout it, and then I came up with Know Nothing in Great. And
Right.
like I said, the whole uniquely American things like trolling. I
Mhm.
was, why
Which,
did people do that?
which is interesting because I know that's the one thing you brought up, with Chris getting trolled and he gets all this hate, and
Yeah.
it's oftentimes is like, where's that coming from? Right.
I'm not sure. I mean, I was listening to the Tomb Mold album, the last one, and I
Mhm.
got the new Tomb Mold album, and I didn't like it. So what am I gonna do? Go find a forum and tell them you suck. You should retire.
Well,
No,
I
don't
think
do
the
that.
one thing that's always interesting is people that go, oh, let's use Motley Crue, for instance, that new song. Been a fan of the guys for ages. I think once they decided to retire, I'm like, okay, that's it. They ended on a sour note, in my opinion, when you have Alice Cooper blowing you off stage night after night and the guy's like, 20 years their senior or whatever.
Yeah.
They come back, running tracks, more tracks, than before, really low quality, new tunes. And it's like, yeah, you could go online and try to convince other people that they suck, but why put the energy into it? People are going to buy what they're going to buy or like what they're going to like.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, foreigners get on our site and they either comment that they like it or they probably don't comment.
right.
Well, uniquely American trolling.
Right. Right.
Really.
And how do you not let that get to you? Because I mean, I know, it's kind of part of the business, I guess, in a way, now that you have to use social media and stuff like that. But, I think there's some people that are pretty good at just shooting that venom.
Yeah. They are professionals.
Right. And I
Um,
think that's also where you get some of these younger kids who get impacted by that and then try to do the self-harm thing. And, I mean, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know. It's like one guy would comment on us that we sucked, and I go to his YouTube page and he plays guitar and he's terrible. What am I gonna do? Go on there and say you suck? You should quit? What you gonna do?
Right. Right.
No, I don't.
Or you could impact them and, get them where it really hurts. But, is that going to make you, the better person, right? Ha ha, I got him,
Yeah, a better person would be, hey, dude, let me help you with your guitar and let me teach you some stuff.
Right. Right. Which is always awesome listening to you death metal guys who have these, the savage imagery and these brutal tunes, and you're all pretty laid back, nice fellows. So I love it.
Yeah.
You don't fit the stereotype.
Right. Yeah. Back in the day, it was like, we're going on tour in Europe and we're going to tour with Immortal. And you look at photos and we're like, oh my God, these guys are scary. They're going to kill us.
Right.
We get there and meet them and they're a bunch of goofballs just like us.
Right. Right.
That's the role with like every band.
So I was going to ask you about Hair of the Dog.
Oh, yeah.
Why that tune? Who brought it to the table? And
Oh.
more importantly, when you go in to record that, do you record the wah-wah, talk box at the same time as you do the guitars, or does that come in separate? And if so, who recorded that if it wasn't you or your other guitar player?
Oh, yeah. We always need something a little extra for the Japanese releases or digipacks and stuff. So
Mhm.
we covered. Chris was like Hair of the Dog, and I was like, I've always liked that. So I demoed it out, and it could have been heavier, but I just kept traditional 70s. Wow. And yeah, I just did the rhythms, and then we sent it over to Ray, the guitar player, and he was like, my friend has a Healy talk box. So he
Oh,
actually
nice.
went and did it in his studio.
Oh, cool. No. And now, is this a precursor to another Graveyard Classics? And would you want to be a part of that?
I'm prepared because we're talking about it. So I'm cool with that. It would be my first one doing that.
Right.
Or, like I said, I have another album of original stuff.
Right. Nice. So, hey, thanks so much for your time. I got one more question, because this is going to be for We Go to 11, which, as you know, We Go to 11, Spinal Tap, a little bit of a connection there. But I was going to ask you there, Jack, if you had a Spinal Tap type moment that you can share with us, and we'll end on that note.
We Go to 11. Let's see. Yeah, everybody knows the one where we were in a van with two bands hauling a trailer in 1991, and we were in Montreal, and we slammed the van door and the window broke, and it was like negative 15 degrees. So then we're coming down to play in New York. We're going across the George Washington Bridge, and our trailer came unhooked from the van, so you can literally turn around and watch it rolling into the median. Very Spinal Tap. We're calling the people, and we're like, oh my God, what do we do? And they're like, we'll get you a bus. Just hold on.
Oh, now, how much what was the damage on that?
I think the trailer broke an axle, the lot was screwed, so we just got to the gig in New York and then loaded up a bus for the rest of the
jeez. Well, that's a Spinal Tap moment for sure. Hey, Jack, thank you so much. We hope to see you in Portland, Oregon. I mean, it's been a bit since 6 Feet Under has been in Portland.
I love it. Roseland.
Yeah, Roseland Theater.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And maybe the shed out there if you guys get on a package.
Yeah.
So, thanks so much.
Cool, man.
Take care. Yep.
Let me know.
Yep. Bye.